You don't have to break yourself to build a life. You don't have to bleed to be believed. Today, we unlearn hustle and reclaim the quiet power of choosing you without apology. Main Poor Gang, welcome back, love. I want to take time to thank everyone for all of their comments and well wishes from the very first episode. I am elated. And I'm so glad to be able to get into our next episode. So today's pour is one a lot of us have been thirsting for without even knowing it. Unlearning hustle, reclaiming rest. We've been taught that if you're not grinding, you're falling behind. That if you're not stretching yourself thin, you're not stretching yourself enough. What if I told you the softest, most revolutionary thing you can do is rest anyway? So grab your cup, loosen your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and let's pour into the freedom of choosing yourself first. Before we take a deep dive, let's check the vibe. Are you feeling sweet today? Light, joyful, savoring the small things and letting life be easy? Or maybe you're feeling strong, grounded, clear, setting boundaries and showing up for yourself. Maybe it's a spicy kind of day. You're feeling bold, glowing, walking in your truth, even if it stirs the pot a little. Or maybe you're steeping in process, figuring it out, not fully brewed yet, and that's okay too. You might even be feeling a little spilled, overwhelmed, stretched thin, still showing up even when it's hard. Or maybe today is a empty cup kind of day, low energy, running on fumes, needing softness and space. Wherever you are, take a breath, check in with yourself. As for my cup, I'm feeling a little steeping with a dash of strong, sitting with what's coming up lately, but clear on what I'm no longer carrying. It's the perfect blend to lead us into today's conversation, unlearning hustle and reclaiming rest. Whatever your blend looks like today, I'm really glad you're here. And honestly, sitting with all that has me thinking about how long I wore busy like it was a badge of honor. Not just a season, but a whole identity. Have you ever felt proud of being busy? I have. I remember the first time so clearly. It was when I had landed my first corporate job. Picture this. I was the only Black woman and the only Black person on the entire design team. I had just made history at that company as their first Black UX designer and researcher. And let me tell you, it felt like everybody was watching. One of my first projects, research on a smart faucet. I had no idea what I was doing at first, but I was determined to figure it out. I needed them to know they had made the right choice. So I threw myself into it, working around the clock every single day. And it didn't slow down, not for 4 years. Back then, being on my grind felt like a badge of honor. I was a young mom, a Navy vet, a former massage therapist, a former retail manager, and now I was finally doing something I loved. And not just surviving, I was good at it. But year after year, underneath all that hustle, I felt myself quietly falling apart, tired, invisible, running on empty, with nothing left to give. And at the time, I thought success was about how much I could provide. I wanted the titles, the income, the you made it nods. I needed to prove to the world, and if I'm honest, to myself, that I was more than where I started, that I was greater than my circumstances. By December of 22, though, the grind didn't feel good anymore. It felt heavy. At work, I was in the middle of another intense project. At home, things were tense too. My youngest was shutting down emotionally. A close friend of ours had just lost their mom. And even though my boss was kind, they weren't really there for me. I kept pushing because that's what we're taught, right? Push through, push harder. but it wasn't getting better. It was getting heavier. It wasn't until February of 24 that rest even became an option. My therapist and I agreed I needed to go fully remote for my health. Even then, I would still show up for product testing, and just walking into that building made my chest tight. Eventually, I got laid off. And honestly, that's when I finally let myself breathe. And the biggest surprise about the stillness, how much I needed it, how long I had been holding my breath, how good it felt to finally hear my thoughts again. The grind had me chasing receipts. Rest showed me the real flex was never the titles, the checks, or the applause. The real flex was peace. Let's get into it. And listen, main poor gang, hear me when I say this. You don't have to break yourself to build something beautiful. You don't have to bleed to be believed. Choosing rest isn't quitting. It's wisdom. It's reclamation. It's radical self-trust. You are enough even in your stillness. You know, we don't talk enough about what it really costs to wear busy like a badge. The late nights, the lost sleep, the way you start to forget what you even like outside of work. Today, we're unpacking why we tie our worth to what we produce and what it looks like to break that cycle. Let's be real. Hustle culture had me in a chokehold. It taught me my worth was tied to my output. If I wasn't busy, I was lazy. Burnout meant I was doing something right. Every passion had to be turned into a side hustle. Productivity made me valuable. Sleep was for the weak, and I always had to be on. The hardest ones for me to unlearn, definitely the first two, that my worth came from my output and that rest was laziness. I used to carry my laptop around like it was an extra limb. Even on days off, I was terrified of being seen as unproductive. And the guilt, baby, the guilt hit fast when I started to rest. I've always worked, always done something. Having a son at 18 meant I was used to being in motion, surviving, providing, pushing. So when I finally started to pause, it felt wrong. Like if I wasn't clocked in somewhere, I must be falling behind. But you know what? I started small. I made my own Netflix profile. I started watching shows I actually wanted to watch. I took walks. Those walks turned into runs. And little by little, I started taking care of me again. Not out of survival, but out of love. And yeah, I lost some momentum in my business, but I gained something way deeper: boundaries, clarity, trust in myself. I started making breakfast just for me, trying new recipes, creating soft mornings, and I started liking who I was without the hustle. So if you're listening right now and you're scared to stop, scared that if you rest, you'll fall behind, let me tell you this. If you don't make rest a priority, life will. And the path it chooses for you might be a lot harder than simply giving yourself permission to pause. You don't have to earn your worth. You don't have to earn your rest. You are enough right now, just as you are. That's the real talk. All right, love, let's wrap this up with a little softness to carry with you. Say it with me, or whisper it if you need to. Rest is not a luxury. It's a lifeline. I honor my enoughness even when I'm still. Let that settle. And when the guilt creeps in, come back to this. You are allowed to be still. Now that we've poured out a bit, it's your turn. This is the part of the episode where we put ink into essence. This week's journaling prompt is, what would it look like to rest without guilt? Not the Pinterest version, not the perfectly color-coded morning routine. Just you, your truth, your rest. What would it look like if you didn't feel like you had to earn it? Let it be messy. Let it be honest. There's no right way, just your way. You made space to be here today, and that matters. Thank you for listening, for pausing, for choosing softness, even when the world keeps asking you to be sharp. Main Core Gang, this journey we're on, unlearning, reclaiming, resting without guilt, it's sacred work. And I'm so proud to be in it with you. If today's pour touched you, send it to someone who might need permission to slow down too. Tag us using hashtag INQ Essënce or hashtag First Pour Friday. We love seeing our community grow. And hey, if you've got a story about healing, hustle, or the holy beauty of beginning again, we love to hear it. We're gathering stories for future guests, and maybe your journey is exactly what someone else needs to hear. Head to danicar.com/INQ to connect with us. Next week, we're unpacking a big one, confidence. What happens when your glow intimidates the room you walk into? What do you do when your light feels too loud for the people around you? We're talking about the audacity of being fully you on purpose. Until next time, protect your peace, prioritize your rest, and pour gently. This is INQ Essënce, and I'll meet you here again soon.